My name is Keli B, and this is my video out. Hi guys, I'm Keli B. I'm from Harlem, New York. Growing up in Harlem in the late 90s, well, the early 90s, I'm sorry, was interesting. It was colorful, it was vibrant. I think I had a really good childhood. Went outside with my friends, played double dutch, relay races, things like that. I was a dancer, so it was a pretty decent childhood living in the concrete jungle. Growing up in a Caribbean household, that was, I mean, homophobia was like, it wasn't rampant or anything like that, but you just knew it was there. So like, when my mother would say things like, oh, you know, you better not be out there with these boys. And that was another thing, sexuality or sex wasn't discussed. Like if you felt sexual, you couldn't go to your mother, your Caribbean mother, and talk about that. I would say to her, so she would say, you know, you better not be out here running around with these boys. And I said, what, do you want me to be a lesbian? Because in my heart of hearts, that really was what's going on, but I just couldn't, it was just really tough. Caribbean families are just, no. Some of them are accepting, but it's a long road to acceptance, and I'm still on it. Well, looking back, it brings me mixed emotions. I've lost friends along the way from AIDS, and it was really shunned upon, and a lot of their families did not want to disclose that or even acknowledge it or even acknowledge that they were gay. So that was really, really hard to live through. And then as their extended family, because, you know, as a LGBTQ plus person, you find family within the community because a lot of times your own family doesn't accept you or understand you. So, you know, a lot of times we would go to the funerals and, you know, the family members would look at us in a way, or, you know, we didn't feel welcomed. And yeah, it was just really hard navigating through that. And also looking back, you know how like you remember that teacher or that person that was different in your life, but you couldn't really put your finger on it back when, but you knew you had a connection to that person. So it was a lot of that, like, oh my God, that was a gay man. Oh my goodness, that was a trans woman. You know, all these aha moments, and just remembering those kindness that they gave you because maybe they saw something in you, you know? So, yeah. I first knew in elementary school. I went to elementary school where we wore uniforms, and I would see girls and kind of stare at them. At the time, I wasn't connecting that I had an attraction there because, of course, like you're a little girl and you're just like, oh, she's pretty, she has long, nice hair and stuff like that. And then when puberty came in, I started looking at girls in a different light. It was more like, oh wow, like I like the shape of her body, or, you know, things of that nature started to develop more into the physical realm. So I kind of just always knew. Yeah, always knew. I guess my first conscious thought was at 8. The first person I told was a person I trusted. I saw them as a family member. They lived in my neighborhood, well, actually in my building across from my apartment. So I grew up with them. They were older, and when I had my first girlfriend officially, my first femme girlfriend, I told the person, and they outed me, actually. So I told them in confidence, you know, again, I thought they were like a family member. They saw me grow up, so I was really close to them. So I told them, and they went and told my sisters. And it was really weird because the person also came on to me after I came out to them. So I felt violated in more than one way. I never got the opportunity to come out to my family in the way I wanted to. My family is a Caribbean family. And so, you know, homophobia is a really big thing. Christianity is running rampant, and that begets hate. So yeah, I felt cheated with my coming out story. And the one thing that I remember vividly was the day that everyone found out. I came into chaos, and my father was staying with us at the time. He was in between apartments, and came into the door, and he was looking at me from the back, and he was just like, "I'm so disappointed in you," and just went into the room and closed the door. So when I went to the living room, now everyone's there, and everyone's just like, it's the talk of the town. And so him and I just never talked about it at all until years later. And it was funny how that happened. So I went to the Pride Parade with my sister and her friend, and we had a great time. And the next day, literally, we're driving on the highway, me and my father, and he's like, "I heard you went to the parade this weekend." And I was just like, "What parade?" He was like, "The gay Pride Parade with your sister." And I was just like, "Yeah, I went." And he was like, "Is that your lifestyle?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Well, if you were a boy, maybe I would have a harder time accepting it," which that's problematic, we all know. But, you're a woman, I can understand how you would love another woman. I just want you to be happy, and, that was it. So I think his disappointment came from me not telling him and him having to find out the way in which he did, which was a very harsh way because it was communicated very nasty. But yeah, she was the first person. I would say the biggest challenge in our community today is acceptance. There's a lot of colorism, racism, transphobia, fat phobia within the community. I think a lot of us Black and brown people already coming from underserved communities. We bring certain traumas and certain experiences on top of the fact that the society doesn't accept us. So it's like my family doesn't accept me, society doesn't accept me, I have a chip on my shoulder. And a lot of the times people are so wrapped up within themselves and their coming out story or their experiences that they don't stop to think, well, maybe I'm offending someone else, or I need to show more love because I didn't get the love. I think that a lot of people in the community need to dig within and get some help, talk to a therapist. I always encourage that. A lot of people that are Black and brown, they think that therapy means that something is wrong with you, that you're crazy. And that might be the case sometime, but it's also helping you get to the point where you can cope. And I think that a lot of us lack coping skills, and that creates just hate when you can't cope. So yeah. Oh my goodness, my favorite part about being me is all the wonderful people that you do meet in the community that are creative and colorful and loving, and man, I love that part of me, that social part. But within myself, I just love the way I'm a warrior. I have lived many lives. I've worked many jobs. I've done many things. I've had many adversities in my life, and I'm still here. No matter what has transpired in my life, I always seem to make it work. And that's what I love most about myself, my resilience.
Love that.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I need some of that.
Yeah. Come on, you gotta have that fighting spirit. Gotta keep going no matter what. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about being LGBTQ plus is that that's all we know is pushing forward.
Yeah.
We have to.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I want to share that love comes in all forms, and that the best step in the right direction is to start and lead with love. That's what I would like to leave with the audience, is leading with love.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Can't think of a better message. Yes.
It's very simple.
Well, it's so simple, but it's so profound.
Hard. Yeah, but you know what? It's very hard for people to do. So
yeah, for sure.